not like the feel of foundation on your skin, you need to watch this tutorial with me and hang out with me and learn how to use some of these colors. It's an alternative to wearing foundation. And let me share it with you. This is my daily routine. Happy Monday. I am going to go ahead and let's just, hey there, say hello when you jump on. I'm just going to go ahead and do my brows. This is the brow wax that fits in my palette. I like it. There are a lot of other brow waxes you can use, but this is my favorite. It fits in here, and this is the spoolie. Hello, how are you guys? Just putting on some makeup, running some errands. It's my last Monday before I go back to a regular schedule, but it's okay. It's my last year of teaching. I'm going to work, but I have no idea what I'm going to do afterwards. I'm still trying to make decisions. Hey there. What do you suggest I do? There are jobs out there. So what I do, I put the brow wax on and I let it sit for a little bit. And I put it on with a spoolie and I let it dry really good. And this keeps me from putting on too much. And I just kind of load a little bit up on my brows because I have a tendency to get too much. And it ends up being on the skin too much. And it gives it too much of a grip. All right, this is called Demi. It's a low opacity, translucent color. And you don't need all of these. This is just my play palette. This is everything that I use. And but I don't have to have all of these for a daily application. I just like to have excess in my palette to play with the colors. I think I'm going to need it, and then I don't. But the beauty of it is it fits all in this one little palette. This is the large one, and you don't need one this size to start out. But it is nice and convenient because it sits up nicely. I'm going to use a shape brush, and I'm first going to tone. What we're doing, since I'm not wearing foundation, the foundation, when you put it on, you get the instant satisfaction that everything is even and looks the same. But the drawback from that, because it's, opaque, is you're going to have texture on the skin. The beauty of this, it's going to use my skin as the canvas, and we're going to filter it, like putting layers of colored stained glass on top of each other. My skin is layers of all different colors, so I'm just going to put another nice little sheer translucent product in certain spots, not all over, but just in certain areas to give me the color that I'm looking for. So it uses a lot of color theory. This is not, I know it's called demi correctors, but this is not color correcting. This is actually a process, a method of applying makeup in a whole different way. So first I like to balance my skin in adding and subtracting color. So I like to, kind of like what you would do anyway with bronzers, after you've done your foundation or contour, I'm going to go ahead and give myself some balance to color, which is always what we're trying to do with foundation anyway. And and my skin changes. That's what I love about this. It changes with me. I'm not as pink as I have been. It's according to my skincare, how my skin's reacting, that kind of thing. So I really would like to add a little more warmth in here and in here. As we age, I am 52, we start losing volume in our skin, and our skin gets, or in our face, and our skin gets very crepey and starts losing collagen, and so it looks very thin. So color is a great way to build back. I'm going to put on some lip conditioner. I forgot. I love putting on the lip conditioner as I'm applying, then it soaks in really good and gives a good canvas. So also, that fits in my palette. As we age, it gets thin and translucent and crepey. So color is a great way to play a trick on the eyes to make it look as if it has depth in the skin. And depth means a little more, maybe depth of color, a little more deeper color and less gray. So Let's fix it. And I'm first going to do different ways. I love this pineapple. I'm going to use pineapple today for a little bit of additional warmth, and I'm using the shape brush. This does have a scent in it. There's different ways you can do this. You can use 05. If you've been here with me a while, you can, there's so many different ways. But I really, really do love the fruit punches. Do you see what happened there? That was just kind of pale. And I just took a little bit of that pineapple there. And it just looks a little more, I just love it how it just looks even. Also with my neck. I can use these on my neck as well. But the trade-off that I get is it still looks like my skin. I don't have to lose the skin texture, and I didn't add any texture to it because this is so low opacity and it's just very minimal. It's just like tiny, tiny amounts of product. And look at my brush, super clean. It takes so little. And I want to add a little bit of warmth. The great thing about this, if you just wanted to tone and walk out the door, you can do that too. So right in here, losing volume, I like to add it back just a little bit. And right here on the top part of my mouth, it kind of gets like a purple, light purple color. And yellow is the opposite of purple. So what it does, it filters it out and neutralizes it. Love it. So that is pineapple, and it does smell amazing. The smell doesn't stay with you all day. It's just for a little bit. And I love the way it makes my skin feel. It feels amazing. I love it. All right, now that is pineapple. Every time I go live and I try to, it never really takes this long to apply. It's just because I start explaining. I can't help myself, and I hope it helps. So now my eyebrows are dry. So I like to take my finger and press and get those bad boys to lay flat and just shape them with my finger. If I use a brush, I find it's a little too rough on my skin. Having more mature skin, it's a little more sensitive. And so you gotta be a little bit more gentle. And I loved it. This just kind of really works. Kind of roll my finger, and now my brows are set, so they're ready for me to fill in a little bit as well. All right, also keep this in mind. As you're doing this, your skin's going to get color. It's going to bring oxygen to the skin, and it's going to get red as you're applying it. So you need to be patient with it. So you can see after I've touched my skin, it's already calmed down, and you can kind of see the results of the pineapple. Okay, now I'm going to switch brushes. It's the exact same brush. It's just a different color. I'm going to use the shape brush, and I'm going to use this new contour called Cedar. Cedar is a new contour that we have. It is wonderful. It's friendly to use, and I have found it works really well if you have age spots in those areas, or if you have very textured. It's going to be friendly for you. So I'm going to take a little bit of the cedar, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of structure right here at my cheek up, and I like to cup it up to my eye, to my temples. And so in our temples, you can see I have veins. I do use, I see that I like to use the NY. That's what I love about this. It's so versatile. I can do different things. I can use the NY as, I've used it a lot for my, not contour. I use it to sculpt because I'm not using contour techniques. Given the same effect that you can get from contour, but I'm not a fan of this stripe going up through here, then blending it up. I'm older, and if I use a structure going up through here and build it in and push that back even further, it's just going to make me more hollow. I want fullness back. But if you want a more cut, more structured, yes, you can use it. For the Demi Colours, if you're fair skin and have a lot of like any scarring here from acne, anything that's purplish, reddish in here, go with the yellows, the neutral yellows. Cedar, however, is very friendly to use. Since it's new, I've not really found a contour that I like, you know, a day-to-day. I've tried different ones and I've had tutorials using different ones. But to say I solely loved some of the contours with Demi on me, I have not, but I really like cedar. I've been wearing it every day, trying it out to see how I like it, and I really love it. And the ladies that have different skin textures, different skin tones, and depth color of skin color is working really well. So if it's more just ashy, or if you're in the medium skin range, your oranges is always great. No, you can't go wrong with adding orange to your palette. All right, so I am going to put a little bit on my temples, and you can see that I have a lot of veins that you can start seeing. That's what happens as we age. You get a little more translucent, and you can see them right here. Cedar reminds me of NR. Okay, it works a lot like NR. So that's the reason why. And here's some of the R's. It's like a mix between those. Works really well. All right, so you can see how that it has that enough red in it that it's giving me back a little bit more volume and thickness to my skin here at my temples. I'm gonna do the same thing here, and we're talking very minimal. I don't like putting on and then blending. You don't have to do that. We're tinting our skin. That's the process that you want that's a little different, is just tint your skin. And when I'm dabbing into my color, I am just like barely touching it. And these brushes have blunt ends to them, so it's not going to pick up a whole lot of product. That's what I like about it. So you can have a lot of control. I like to cup up my eyes like that, my cheeks, my eyes. Then I like to build this back. Do you see how this has recessed some? And it looks kind of grayish, and you can see the veins. Cedar works really well with that. Or I would use NR here, if you are familiar with Demi. If not, all I'm doing is adding back some depth, and I go the top part of my forehead down. Okay, so friendly to use. Love it. I'm going to take just a little in that jowl part and then onto my chin. You can see losing volume in your chin, and it's very animated. This just gets more pronounced. So nice, lovely. Thanks for aging, but it's part of the process, so we'll just go with it. And all I'm doing is helping that little bit. In women, we tend to get more green, and the darker your skin tone, the more blue that's going to be around our mouth area. And this is typically where we get a lot of pigmentation due to hormones, all in this area. So this works great. I take what's left and just put it right here. Okay, really love it. All right, right in here, I'm a little bit, I have broken capillaries, but it's just kind of very lilac, shadowy in there, and I'm going to counteract that a little bit, and this will help give me some volume into my cheek area. So just right in this little section, large pores, very textured. You can see it in here. I'm going to take a little bit of the 03, lightly tap with a small end of this brush. I mean like smallest amount, and I'm just going to tap it right in there, and this is going to filter that one little section, and you can see what happened to my cheek there. I don't want to put it everywhere. I just want the smallest amount, and then right there on my chin. And that's neutralizing that. I don't want to take away all the color. I want to leave some of the color, and 03 works really well to take away depth. or neutralize the depth. 03, the medium saturations, because remember they come in 1s, 3, 5, and 7 saturations. And I have some that ask me, what does it mean to its saturation? I like to use the analogy of salty water. So if I had a cup of water and I put 1 teaspoon of salt in it, so it's salty water. But if I want it more saturated with salt, I'm going to put 10 teaspoons of salt in the water, and now it's very saturated with salt. So the 3s, the 1s that we have would be like that, 1 teaspoon of salt in the cup. So if I wanted an 01, an orange 1, so it just had like, in a sense, 1 teaspoon of orange pigment in it. But if I wanted the 07 and I needed a lot of orange pigment, then that means I put 7 teaspoons of orange in the cup. So that's what we mean by saturation. So medium saturations are the 3s. And I like to use that 03 right here in this little section to neutralize a color. If I really wanted to erase a lot of the depth and just, but it looks too pasty, I don't want to lose all that color, I would use the 1. So it's according what you want. 3s work really well to neutralize and to balance the area, and your higher saturations are going to add your color. So if you've been with me a while and watched, you could see that sometimes I use 05 to add some depth there. Well, I kind of got that from the pineapple. So, okay. Now, what was I doing? I always get distracted talking to you guys. I don't mind it, but you might have to keep me on task. All right, I am going to do my brows really quick, and I'm using the Indigo Contour and the line brush. And I'm going to start at my arch. And just kind of fill it in a little bit. And it's so nice that the brow wax just kind of separates and makes it easier. I don't have to fill in as much because I just kind of go in between them a little bit. Plus, I have gray hair in here, and so I want to put a little bit of this indigo that works really well with my hair color. It's not too red, and it's not too dark. It's not too cool, and this just kind of warms it up a little bit. What are you guys doing this Monday? By the way, did that help with what I gave you about sculpt? That's the reason why all of these are in my compact, because there's so many different ways. The thing I love about this process of makeup is the versatility. It's not as hard pressed and exact as you would think it would be. It's really a lot more playful, and that's the best way to learn. Okay, good. Oh, good. I'm glad it helps. Okay, so now I want to add a little bit of cheek color, and I can't help myself. We're going to use these bright colors. I love these fruit punch. As long as they're in stock, I'm going to use them. When I'm not doing tutorials or recordings, I use these as well. Even when we didn't have them, these are mine, so they're gonna last you. These over a year old, you could never run out. And they melt down nicely as long as you stir them. They're very low melting point, so you can get them nice and clean again. So I am going to use today the watermelon, and I'm going to use the wash brush. It just takes a little bit. And if you have naturally flushed cheeks, and there's a lot of ladies I've done in person that have that, I'm so jealous. So then I would leave some of the color. If it's went in places where you don't want it, like too low, too close to the nose, you would just filter those areas. Or if it's splotchy, you could add a little here, and then once you filter the hot points in your cheeks, like if you have rosacea or things like that, just take out a couple of the hot dark points in it, and then your cheek will smooth out, and it looks like this beautiful ombre cheek color. I don't have that, so I'm going to clean my tins. okay, I can do that. I think I have a video on there. I can probably send it to you, but I will definitely tell you, and it is super easy. All right, so I need some life in my face due to age. So I'm going to add a little bit. I always say go vibrant color when doing this process because I do not have foundation on. This is my skin. This is going to give me different variations of color, and that's what I want. I want it to look like my skin, as if I just kind of woke up that way and I have this glowy, full of life, healthy looking skin is what I want. Do you see the difference there? And you see how I applied it. The cedar, the sculpting was right here. So I just kind of went right inside of that little C, that little cup of my cheek. So just kind of look at the structure of your face. Highly recommend. I took Kara's advice and looked at young pictures of mine. Now, I'm not trying to look as if I'm that young when I was a kid, but it kind of gives you an idea. The color that's already on your skin and the structure of your face is not too far unattainable to bring some of that characteristics back. So I had really full cheeks and I had some color in my cheeks, but I also had a lot of depth of color right in here. So I just kind of wanted to bring some of that, which my natural features are what's there years ago. The bone structure is still there. It's just the skin that's moved around. All right, so I'm going to apply a little bit over here. I like to come up high a little bit on me. So just kind of look at your face. Go back and I like adding a little bit of this warmth, a little bit of color underneath my eyes. I love it. Okay, that's so easy. Now this is something else you can do. Take grape, because grape is a violet. What makes violet is red and blue. So this means it's going to give a little bit of depth, and depth means blue, and what happens, that gives depth to the skin, like layers. It thickens up the skin a little bit, and it also gives you some sculpting. So I'm going to take just a little bit at the bottom half of my apple. There was the cedar, and I'm just touching just a little bit there. It is ever so subtle, but it does make a difference in the long run. You can also use this on your nose if you wanted to for a little bit of contouring. And I'm just like dusting it on there, like little bitty. I wish you could actually see how lightly, keep your hand loosey-goosey and just add it, because it's got a little bit of blue in it, so it's going to give you some depth in there. Okay, now I'm going to take and switch to a blur brush. Let me get it here. Get the blur brush, and I'm going to use cedar, and I'm going to take a little bit of cedar, and I want to bring out this part. As we age, we lose bone structure, volume in the bone, and that starts to recede. And this is where all of this kind of business starts happening. And so I want to build it back. So I'm just going to build this up, and this makes it brighter, making it look like it's fuller. So Demi plays on light, and how we can move light and dark is by using color. Okay, it's the funnest thing ever. Is that a word, funnest? Is that right? I don't think so. Don't tell anybody I said that. Okay, I want to take a little bit of, actually I want to not do cedar on my eyes. I am going to use, which nothing wrong with using Z, I just want to do something different today. I'm going to use Envy +1. And see, I have this dark already there. I want to use that same color that's natural to me. That's, hollowness, dark, blood flow. Got to keep in mind, this is where all your blood vessels are closer to the skin. So this is going to be our red zone. It's very rare to see red on skin. Not impossible, but very rare. It's always going to be some version of purple, violet. So anything in this area, even if it doesn't look purple to you, Trust me, most likely if it's got some depth of color into it, it's violet. So this is violet, and so this definitely is violet. Doesn't look violet to me. I'm just using, okay, there's blood in there, so that's red, and there's depth of color because I can see it, so that's blue. Red and blue make purple, okay? That's how I see it. Now I'm going to use that color, and to my advantage, this color will work for a lot of ladies because it's a common characteristic in our eyes is have that neutral, that purple brown color on our eyelids. So I'm just playing on the bone here, not the skin. You can see my skin has fallen. So I'm playing on the bone to cup it, just like I did my cheek, to give back that depth. This is NV +1. So that +1 means it's got a lot more of the color pigment in it. Just your NV is just going to be a neutral. This has got a little more in it, and so it's going to add drop in some color for you. And see, I'm just playing on the structure just a little bit. You can do this with different ones. It's according to what feel you want. If you want your eyes to look more skin-like, then you're going to use a sculpt that would neutralize the color. So if you have very colored eyelids, I would use either the oranges for warmth or the yellow sculpts for just kind of neutralize the dark colors. The thing you want to resist is putting this all over your eyelids because it's just, you know, your eyelids are full of creases and stuff. So I'm just putting this above my crease, and so it's never going to crease on me, and I'm using so little. I don't want to use it like eyeshadow. I want to use it to bring out my structure of my eyes, and I want to build that down here. And what that does is give depth here and pulls this back out. I need volume there because my eyes are hollow, so I'm just building this up. And you can use this NV as well for something very, very bright. See, I have a bumpy nose, and I'm just, what's very bright coming for you, towards you. NV works really well to tone that down and take it back. Love it. All right, now I'm going to, what I'm going to do next? I love doing this. Taking the violet, the grape, matched in person, and there's some, especially a lot of the younger girls, that have all of this beautiful blood vessels, because you know these have a lot of volume in their skin, and they have all this beautiful color right at the lash line, and it makes me so sad to cover all of that up and to put on some mascara or enhance that color they have is so natural to them. And you don't really realize how that color really brings out their natural eye color. And I'm just trying to mimic that. I do have some, but my skin is more gray due to age. But this helps bring some of that health back and just kind of mimic that. I really like the effect that it gives. You know, it doesn't look like overly done purple. It doesn't look like liner. It just looks like I have some nice healthy blood vessels there at the lash line. It's a lot of fun to play in. While I have that out, I'm going to line my lips with grape. Now, there's so many different ways. You can do your lips. I've done the NV +1. I've done the NR. But secretly, before grape, you know, I was using, when I'm not on tutorials, my favorite way was to use V5 that we had, and grape works even better than that because it's much more translucent, so it's easy to handle. You don't have to have so much pigment. You just have a little, and this just especially for lips that have a lot of texture around them. I have some freckling that doesn't look cute anymore. And I have lines around my lips. So this works really nicely to not enhance that, but it gives back where I've lost volume in my lips and it collapses and it shows this little white patch. This adds it back without making this strange line around my lips, and it's just in the depth of those contours and things like that just add to the lines around my lips, and I don't want that. I'm going to take a little bit of the watermelon right in the center. I don't know, have y'all tried the Fruit Punch collection at all? Because it is so easy to use. And I just kind of tap it on there. Like you can even, I'm going to take a little bit of the tangerine and tap it right in the center. There's so many different ways you can do it. You can use a tangerine on your cheeks. It's so playful, so easy to play in. All right, now I'm going to do a little bit of filtering, but first I'm going to do small areas of toning underneath my eyes. So I would still call this a toning, you know, but you can also call it filtering. So I'm going to clean off my brush. The cleaning towel makes it so nice. And I'm using the bright brush. Don't you? I just love it. All right. If you haven't tried this with your under eyes, I highly recommend you to do this and see it a little differently, okay? What makes my eyes, this is what typically I would want to immediately go start filtering all of this dark, and it's time consuming but when I go back and look at my pictures when I was younger, this was a characteristic I already had. Well, why does it so much more pronounced, and why is it seen as makes me look tired or older than when I had it when I was younger? Is because of volume. Losing volume around my eyes and my cheeks makes it more pronounced. So anything I can do to bring back some volume would really help and this not be as noticeable. So how do you do that? Well, how is this more pronounced is as my eye has sunk back in and I've lost volume here, it creates this separation between light and dark. So you see the light and you see the dark. Okay, just like, what's something I have that I don't have anything to show you. Like this corner, this is silver and white, so it doesn't really help. But seeing this corner, maybe that will. Seeing this corner here, this is very bright and this is very dark. Even though we know this is white and this is white as well, it creates this sharp edge. So it really makes this pronounced. So anything we can do to build back depth of color there where it's not as bright and just on the other side of it. And then the smallest amount of filtering in a dark area with a couple of dots, it's going to help minimize that sharp edge we have and flatten it out a little bit and give the illusion of volume. Gee whiz, I hope that didn't just spin off somewhere. Hope it nailed in some knowledge for you. Okay, so I'm going to do this with NY. Okay, some ladies need an NO, some need an NO -1, and some need NY, and some need NY -1. Those are the two that I would do this with. I'm using NY because I need some color there because I've lost it. If I had color there and the same concept is very white and flashy, I would just use the NY -1. If I'm in the medium and darker skin tones, they're going to use the oranges. All right, I'm going to very lightly take so little and smile and look, and you can see that flashiness right there. That is a characteristic of a very light purple. okay, on me. Do you see what's happening? Like, do you see? Now this is still here, but it's a characteristic of me, but this looks like it has more volume, and this is not as pronounced. And right out here, same thing. Like you can see, I'm only going over top of what's light. I'm not smearing it over my eye. And right here, that same color, and I'm going, now we just have a little bit of this and a little bit of this. Now it's a lot easier to see. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Each eye is gonna be different. This one is more aged to me. There's more texture. Like, gee whiz, what is this? When I looked at my kid pictures, guess what? I had the exact same thing. It was just more pronounced on this side than this side. So it's just who I am. It doesn't always show age. It's our characteristics of our skin. All right, so I am a little more pronounced on this side, a little less volume, more volume loss here. So that little white patch was a little wider. I still just don't smear it all over. I'm going exactly over top. What is needing color? Needing color. And see what happens as the skin pulls and gravity takes a hold. It pulls the skin and pops it out forward and changes the angle that light hits it. And that's the reason why it is going to show more light. Now look, that is actually so much better. Right there's a spot. So I highly recommend just kind of look side to side, and you can see besides a little bit of depth of color in there, the darkness, it's so much easier to see. Oh, love it. Now I'm going to take care of what's very dark and in areas that I don't want the dark. So this does come down a little bit in here and kind of stands out. It's just kind of out of sync of everything else. I would wish this was a little more deeper color and this wasn't. So let's change it. Wasn't it just the smallest amount? Telling you, smallest amount. Like these colors, these are the same Demi Colours. The only thing I've replaced is Y01 and 03. I used them way too much in my learning process, and those guys have been replaced. But the rest of these I've had for 3 years. No joke. Like, it takes a little. You don't need a whole lot. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of, like, tiny amounts of Y01, because that's like a blueberry raspberry. Remember what I said, all your blood vessels are right here. So just know, most likely you got purple there, okay? Especially when you're more fair. And notice my brush matches that size. So I'm just toning that little section in there and in here. Now my process day to day to do this on a day-to-day basis does not take me that long. It takes me no longer than anything else I've ever done, and I love the results so much better. So I would say 12 to 15 minutes is about my process, and that is how long it took me to put my makeup no matter what I did. Now the learning process took me a little longer, but forcing yourself to not focus on all the little small things is really, really going to help you just kind of focus on what matters instead of worrying about all the details. Okay? And guess what? I never really do it the same way every time, because you just kind of play, and there's sometimes I do it wrong, and I was like, I don't like it, but that's the way we do anything. You ever get ready, get to work, do your thing, and like I said, I wish I could go back home and start all over. Well, that's just typical. We do that. All right, now I've taken care of that. I want to, while I'm at it, I'm going to switch back to my blur brush. I would like to add a little depth right there, and I'm just going to use my cedar right in there, because this tends to get wide as we age, because it falls down and your skin comes down. It's a glorious thing, guys, to get older. It's a glorious thing. I may have gotten too much. I did. Got too much. I don't want it to be noticeable. I just want it to have that slight hint to it. Hey, Emmer. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little brush and filter. Little detailed artist brush. Love this one. I get them from Amazon. He's getting worn out. I only have one that I use all the time. And I just clean off in between. So now let's focus on this, what's dark. And anything that's dark and stands out to you, just filter it. I don't want to erase all the color. It will tend to look like toothpaste. So I'm not going to use any of the ones. I'm going to use the threes. I just want to tone the color. I don't want to lose any color there. I've already taken care of the flashy whiteness. I just want to get rid of what's dark and in that area that enhances that. And look, just those couple of dots, guys. Plus, my skin has calmed down from me touching underneath my eyes. So I think it's great if you can skip around and do different things and let your skin come down from being touched. And look, just those few dots, guys. Those few dots. And this is, okay, I'm happy with that. All right, now keep in mind, knowing your skin structure and what's natural to you, keep in mind, I'm not going to get rid of this whole thing because this is part of my bone structure that I've always had. And now that I just paid attention to that, I'm just going to whatever is enhancing it. So looking in the mirror and taking away that what makes it tired is the freckles that are not so cute anymore. When I was a kid, have like buddied up and became friends, and they connect and they're not cute. So I just took care of what's dark there, and now I'm done. Isn't that the craziest thing? Love it. All right, let's address what typically, like here's a bump that's come up. Definitely more pink, right? That's not red. Do y'all see that I have any green in my palette? No. You don't need green mostly. It's very rare. I'm taking the tiniest amount of Y01, and I don't want to erase all the color. I just want to take out what's the most distracting color, and that was the purple, the violet. Okay, same thing here. Now this one's a little bigger and broader. Now, that is standing out to you more than this one. I probably had to point that out to you. Maybe I didn't. But this and this are violet. But what's different between this one and this one is that you can see it more. Well, anything you can see more and that stands out to you has depth of color. Depth of color means blue. So most likely this has got some blue and more in it than the violet. So guess what I'm going to go to? And I don't want to erase all the color, because I wanted color in my cheeks. I'm just going to neutralize the depth. And I'm going to just take, and I got too much on my brush, and I'm just barely going to tap around it. Again, I don't want to lose skin texture and variation of color. But you can see I took away some of the depth. Now right on top of it, it's just more pink like it was right here. So I'm going to touch in my Y01 and just take my time to dot it, and I've got too much. Now, if you have a bump, boom. Plus, when you touch it, it's going to bring blood to it, so let it calm down. And I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, sometimes you might have a bump like with rosacea or anything like that, and it's healing and it's slick, okay? Just no matter what you do, no matter what foundation, no matter what product, it's not going to stick as much, and you're just going to have to deal with it as it's healing. So do keep that in mind. So if it's slick, just kind of go around it and minimize what's around it. Typically some oranges because it's bruised, that kind of thing. If it's scabbed, whatever, you can take care. You got to be very careful and just go around it. Take your brush and go at different angles. And just know you're probably going to see some of the texture, but you just want to take away the depth of color and the places around it to help for it to go back into the background. You want to resist covering the entire thing because it's just going to show more color. All right, now I like to take that Y01 again, in the areas where I have broken capillaries, just one or two right there. And then there's some hot spots in my cheeks, and you see just whatever's left, I'm just dotting that. Guys, this is just like, and I'm just, all these little, there's a couple little broken capillaries. And then these right here really bug me. All right, I'm going to take care of this one. Oh, did I already? Oh, yeah, I did. There's one more I see, and I've let the skin calm down, and I can see it. All right, filter over here. Here, I'm just using the 03. I just taken away the depth of color. They don't stand out like this one, so I'm just using the 03 to take away the depth of color. And you just touch and go. All right, see this vein? It stands out. I've already put cedar there, so I'm just going to take away the depth of color. And you can see it's in a nice little wrinkle that I have. So I'm not going to follow the vein. What happens is there's some age spots, some pigment on top of that vein, which makes it stand out more. So I'm just dotting some 03 on the dark points, and you can see what happened to the vein. Yay, love it. All right, same thing on the top part of my lip. There's some dark little freckles in there, which makes my lines show up more. So I'm just taking 03 and dot it. No, blur it out. Do you go back over it and blur out the excess color? Do you mean like excess product? Oh, okay. That is a application learning process. How to prevent going back. I think it's a waste of product and it's a waste of time just to dot then blur, because what you're going to do is create a halo, and as you wear it, it's going to look like it disappeared, and it, just like with anything else, you've got too much product. So what you want to do is go to a very small brush, go to the exact color that you want, and just lightly touch to where you never have to. Now, in the process of learning, you might have to look like side to side and you see you got too much. You can just tap it or just lightly touch it with a brush. I would really resist dabbing color and then blending it and blurring it because you're shifting the color off the top, what you were filtering and trying to tone. So you're just going to create the color. So how could I say? It's like if you had a acne bump, all right here, and you just kind of dotted over it, and then you went and blurred it, where you've moved product outside of this. And so as you wear it, within just 30-40 minutes, you're going to see it's still there. It may not be as bad, but you still see it, and it's because you've created this lighter color where you've moved the product off the top, the color you want to filter. So that is an application learning process. How to prevent that? All right, this is what I recommend. Set you up a timer. First time, force yourself to only select a few colors, maybe 4 colors, and say, I'm going to do my whole face with these 4 colors. Just, these are the ones I have to have. And set up your timer first for 30 minutes. Do what you can in 30 minutes. So from top to, from beginning to end, everything. Mascara, all of it. Your entire full face makeup, 30 minutes. All right? Yeah. Even the younger, it's just not even younger, no matter what, this product does not blend. It's translucent. So moving it and blurring it is not blending it. You're just And then you're going to have so much product on the skin that you're going to feel pasty and washed out. So what I'm saying, after 30 minutes, say, okay, done. Walk away from the mirror, go do your thing, don't look at yourself, give yourself a couple of hours, then go back and process, okay, how did I do? How do you feel about it? I promise you, you will be more happy with it than what you thought because you didn't spend any more time on it. Then what you want to do is the next time do it for 20 minutes. If you needed to add a couple colors to make the adjustment, do that. Then do it in 20 minutes. And then keep doing it 20 minutes until you feel like you have mastered without, the application without having to readjust it. Then eventually it'll be just like anything else. You'll be like not even thinking about applying your makeup and what colors they are and the application. You'll get to where you don't want to, it's just more time consuming to dot and to blend. Just go to the exact color that you want and be done with it. And I promise you, that is how I force myself to learn. I was finding myself spending way too much time and frustrated with it, and it was just because I was overthinking it. I was not listening to the basic steps and the processes that were suggested, and I was focusing on everything because of my age, thinking there's no way I could walk around without covering all this up. And it's just a total mind shift. And that little step, trying to force myself to just be happy with what I can do in that amount of time and walk away, forces you to only pay attention to what really is that matters. Okay, I hope that helps. I'm going to take care of a couple of I have large pores on my nose. And because I'm going to use the Y01, because I have a colorful nose and it's a lot of broken capillaries, it's very lilac. Even though I put that grape there, it builds up on that excess shadow, because the thing that with age, your nose continues to grow. Isn't that nice? It just continues to grow. I don't know if the nose continues to grow or it's just gravity pulls it down. I don't know. All I know is and see, I just want to touch a couple of little red places, purple places on there. Okay, another thing I like to do in my lips is take like the color 05, and I have a dark spot. Do you see that? And I'm just going to touch those two. Why orange? Because orange, I don't want to erase, I don't want a white spot in my lip. So I'm going to use a high saturation of orange to get rid of the depth of color. There, I think I'm done. Oh, this little vein, you see that little vein? I forgot about it. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. I just want to take away the depth of color. So I'm going to use 03. Right on that vein. The reason why I want to do that vein is because it drags down and enhances my skin right there. Okay, finished. All right, then I put on mascara and I'm done. This is my favorite mascara right now. I've used this one and there was another one I used now. I can't remember what it was. But Double Extend L'Oreal, I keep going back to this. I love it. I love how it feels on my lashes. I love how it washes off and it does not transfer. So good. All right, guys, I hope that really helped. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. See, I forget. Probably took me much longer than what I was planning. I was like, I'm going to stay on task. I'm going to use red 1. Now, this is something you guys can do. And this is not necessary. I'm completely happy with it. But this is just going to amp it up just a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of red 1. Just a little, and right in here, skin, oh, thank you. The skin kind of collects, like little curtains and little folds. They're microscopic, but they are there, and it kind of sometimes, oh, there's deer. I don't want Gypsy to bark, but they're walking right now in my front yard. Oh, so right here, I don't know if I can turn it around, guys. Can you see? No, my flower's in the way. It's a itty bitty dots. Oh gosh, you guys gotta see this. Oh my gosh, can you see? Where did it go? Oh. Look. Look. Oh my gosh. Look at that baby. No, Gypsy. No, don't bark at the baby. Oh my gosh. Now, let me get you turned back around. We interrupt this program. Wasn't that the sweetest thing? It must have just been born because these deer hang around here, and she was, I said she was expecting, and I was not wrong. She was. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to show Mike. Okay, sorry. I live in the foothills of Appalachian Mountains in North Georgia. And we have lots. We have an 8-pointer and 6-pointer that are right now hanging around. And so, okay, what was I doing? Let me clean this up. Red one. So I just want to take a little bit right here, because what happens as we age, okay, is this collapses and comes down. So it's like an apple that's been punched and it's got a dent in it. Well, this red one, low saturation, so it's going to take away the most of the color. And since I know it's just like dull pigment, the red one works well. If you have a richer skin tone, I would use the yellows or the oranges to do that. And I'm going to take a little red one, or if it's pretty dark and you tan, use like the red ones, or the red orange ones, or the OR one. Like I've said, it is not as hard pressed as you think. See, this one comes down in a different direction. So I just want to take that. And you can see what it does to my cheek. It just gives me back a little more volume. Oh, there's a baby running. I'm sorry. Oh, where's the mama? Oh, I don't want it to get hit. Okay. There goes mama after her baby. Oh my gosh. Okay, so sorry. Get so spastic. And I'm going to use the same color, red one, right here for a little bit of playful light. Give back what Mother Nature has taken from me. Okay, so I'm going to put on my mascara, and I'm going to check out and see if the baby's still out there. Because now I'm worried that it's going to go in the road. All right, thank you for joining in. If you want to be color matched, you can go to yes.outthere.matchme.com, and I'll be glad to help you. You'll get video clips, you'll get graphics, and very detailed information. I take a lot of work into it because it seems to really help my customers to be very confident and trust the process. And then I would appreciate if you would share my video. It really helps me out a lot. And thank you for hanging out with me. I will share my before and after and the colors I use. Thanks, guys.